when I got to Vibe, artists were mad at the reviews all the time, and I ended up feeling.
Skylar, John Huesman.
Hi, John.
I would like to speak in the comment section.
Okay, I'll put you on the list.
Thank you.
Other folks that are logging in, if you'd like to offer public comment, the board is allowing that tonight. So you can unmute yourself and indicate that. You can put your hand up. You can send me an email or email info@sunsetempire.com. Lots of different options, but just let us know and we'll put you on our list.
Randy Frank here. I wouldn't mind commenting tonight.
Okay, thanks, Randy.
Okay, this is Patrick Duachek. I'd like to make a comment, please.
All right, got that.
Diane Wells, I'd like to comment, please.
Okay.
All right, Skylar, does everybody look like they've logged in?
Yeah, there's nobody else. Oh, hang on one sec. Someone just popped in the waiting room and I'm letting that person in. All right, I think we are good to start the meeting from my perspective.
Okay, do you want to make your announcement again on how to reach public comment for the new person?
Yeah, folks, if you're just joining us, we are, the board is listening to public comment at this meeting. You can indicate that you'd like to offer public comment a number of ways. You can unmute yourself and share your name right now. You can raise your hand under the reactions, which is down at the bottom of your Zoom screen, or you can shoot me a quick email and I'm checking that to offer your public comment. At the time of public comment, you could also just unmute yourself. Towards the end, I think Catherine can try to make sure that space is there for you. So right now I have 4 people on the list: John Huesman, Randy Frank, Patrick Duachek, and Diane Wells.
Can you add me, Al Hernandez?
And Al, I got you. Okay. All right.
All right.
Nobody's in the waiting room, so I think you're good to proceed if you'd like.
Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Just a quick reminder that if you are not part of the board, to please remember to mute yourself. And when it is time for public comment, if you would like to offer public comment, you can unmute yourself. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any declarations of potential conflict of interest? Mike?
No, I do not have any conflicts of interest.
Sue?
None.
Celeste?
No conflict.
Erica?
None.
None for myself. Skylar, could you please read the public comment rules of decorum?
Yes. In advance of the public comment period, the board of directors wishes to extend a thank you to citizens who participate in providing feedback to the district. It is an important goal of SEPRD's public meetings to encourage discourse and engagement from our communities. It is important we hear the voices and concerns of citizens in order to best serve them. However, it is also imperative that we maintain a respectful and productive environment that allows all voices to be heard. A copy of the district's public comment rules for decorum are available in the lobby or on the SEPRD website on the board page. Each speaker is allocated 3 minutes to speak. And if you'll give me just 1 second, I will get the timer up on the screen. And then John, you will be the first speaker tonight.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
All right. This week I wanted to talk about a couple of things. First of all, due diligence. So what is due diligence? It's an investigation, audit, or review to confirm the facts of a matter under consideration. You've been in the due diligence period right now. So what's happened? You've paid for a number of inspections. You've obtained inspections that were done 2 years ago, 4 years ago. And what have you learned in your due diligence? Well, fortunately, I was able to see some of the reports that you've obtained. You certainly didn't make it easy on the taxpayers, and I'd say shame on you for that, because the reports show that it's going to cost millions upon millions of dollars if you really want to be able to use Broadway Middle School. Let's just talk about remediation. Remediation of asbestos, mold, and lead paint. From what I can see, that's $5 million right there. Now, if you add to it fixing things to make the structure actually usable, that's at least another 5 million. And that's not even going to get it up to code. Repairs are needed to make that building usable. I think with your due diligence and what you found out, it would be completely reckless and irresponsible of you to carry on with this purchase. You have what's called fiduciary responsibility. What does that mean? It means you have the legal obligation to prudently act in the best interest of the taxpayers or the people that are actually the owners of Sunset Empire Park and Recreational District. Ask yourself, is this a prudent purchase, looking at what it's going to cost over the years? I think anybody in their right mind looking at it would have to say, no, this is not prudent, because by the time you're done, it's going to be over $20 million. And who's going to wind up paying it? The taxpayers. Acting in this way is acting directly against your fiduciary responsibility. And there comes with that legal things that can happen. Beware anybody, any of you, that don't call off this purchase here and now. It's reckless, it's irresponsible, and it will hang millions upon millions of dollars in new taxes around the taxpayer's neck. And that's just plainly not fair. And it's not being responsible on your part. You've got the responsibility, own up to that legal obligation that you have to act prudently. I haven't seen that yet.
Thank you, John.
All right, the next speaker is Randy Frank.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so my reason to chime in tonight is that since we have had the opportunity to review these inspection reports, I see that even a few years ago, the roof was deemed not just bad, but critical in that it needed to be replaced. They also stated that there's places where you can step on it and water starts gushing out. So they really have no idea how far that water has gone and what all the damages are. They also state that all of the west-facing windows are bad and need to be replaced. So in the estimates they got, I see we're around $4 million, and that's just dealing with the critical things to keep the building, not really addressing what it might cost to bring it up to code. So that's just a lot of money. And even if the district were to buy this and sell off parcels of the property, they would still be stuck with this building or trying to take care of and service parts which are 71 years old. So as you saw in my note today, I would just ask that you not rush into something, especially this time of the year. A lot of people are really struggling right now financially. And there's a lot of people on fixed income and retirees that keep seeing taxes go up. It would be nice if the district has extra money, perhaps to rebate some of that back to the taxpayer. So just in considering this, I think there are other options, maybe waiting, putting an offer in on just the new gym and property to the north and the east of that. Perhaps with that, you could add on to it. And for a lot less money, have a pretty nice and much newer facility. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Randy.
Okay, next is Patrick Duacek.
Hi, good evening. So a couple concerns. One is that the school had asbestos inspections performed in 2016 and 2019, and there was no reduction in the damaged asbestos in the building. U.S. federal regulations require that the owner, the school district, still conducts asbestos remediation, meaning that it be cleaned, repaired, and replaced. And so I question if we should even be putting children in this building. Some of the things from the audits were pretty alarming. The Broadway Middle School uses over $77,000 a year in electricity and gas. That's in today's dollars. And even if you put $250,000 in improvements, that energy consumption would only be down to $60,000 a year. That's in today's dollars. Like I said, the asbestos inspection in 19 found all the asbestos in the same condition as in the 2016 report. There are lay-in ceiling tiles with moderate damage potential that contain asbestos. The boiler room, the gym, and tunnels all contain damaged or severely damaged asbestos material with high flowability, meaning it's easily released into the air. The 2013 facility assessment ratings, the seismic structural integrity potential is rated as critical for moderate to high collapse potential. I mean, I think this is one of the main reasons that the school district got out of this building was to be in a building that if there was, some Cascadia or even an earthquake event, that the kids are to be in a school that wasn't going to collapse. And to bring anything up to seismic standards is just a huge cost effort. The roofing, like Randy said, was critical for leaking replacement. The aluminum framed windows were critical and failing for replacement. The boiler, the heating controls were critical and failing and needed replacement. The steam distribution lines with asbestos were failing and critical for replacement. Galvanized water lines are plugged solid with debris and critical for replacement. Building security is poor with multiple entry points, which is kind of a big deal in these days with things happening in schools. The building envelope, meaning the outside of it, is poor with non-insulated concrete masonry walls. The building itself insulation is poor with inadequate roofing insulation. And the air quality is poor. There's no mechanical ventilation and it has high CO2 levels. These are all from the reports from 2013. This is a contractor's dream to get in there and find this stuff. And it will be a never ending effort to get this building up to standards and safe for occupancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Okay, next up is Diane Wells.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, now that you have evaluated Broadway Middle School, have seen the building reports, have heard praise, concerns, and ideas from the community, and considered the consequences of owning this property, I hope you are reconsidering your decision to move forward with its purchase. Remember, these old buildings will need constant attention and upkeep, as in money. The buildings are not up to code, so SEPRD will be prohibited from utilizing them until this can be accomplished. The school district was able to use them because, as Skylar told me in 2018, the school was grandfathered in. I'm not sure in their present condition they can even be insured. And think of the liability to the district, given the location near the highway. What will happen if someone sustains injury in the parking lot? Why do you think the school district is so motivated to sell? Given the inherent complications with owning this large and old property, I hope you can step back and reconsider this purchase. I hope you will be able to, in the future, negotiate a better solution for expansion and present it to the people for a vote. With a good plan, I feel you will get overwhelming support. It's not too late.
Thank you, Diane.
Okay, and next up is Al Hernandez.
Yes, I just wanted to make a couple of comments. One, I pretty much agree with everything that has been said about the Broadway Middle School. The seismic retrofits that would be required to make the school safe are enormous. I mean, I worked on seismic retrofit in California, and to seismic retrofit a 20-foot storefront usually cost in the $250,000 range, sometimes a lot more. To clear mold, to clear lead paint and asbestos are all very, very expensive retrofits that would need to be done. Not to mention the roof, as has been discussed already, and all this cash going out. That's more than I think the taxpayers would be willing to pay for right now and could afford. Where's the money going to come from, basically, to pay back the loans, to make the roof repair of about $4 million? That is, I'd say, an urgent type of matter to repair right away. I think the investment that we'd be making is way too big for our community. And what bothers me the most is, have the taxpayers of our community been notified, and do they know the exact cost that this may be imposed upon them? They're the ones that are going to have to pay it in the long run. And I'm just concerned that there hasn't been enough disclosure. There hasn't been enough meetings. There hasn't been enough Zoom meetings or enough literature put out there to the taxpayer to make them aware of this. So I'm just concerned about the lack of transparency that seems to have been taking place with this purchase. The other thing I wanted to touch base really briefly on is the other day I was looking for the board meetings that was meant to be taking place today. And I had a little bit of trouble finding it. I finally did find it. And when I looked at it, all I saw was a summary of the agenda. I did not see any of the documents as to what might be discussed today. And me as a taxpayer, I would love to be able to see what is going to be discussed and know what's being talked about so that I can voice an opinion if one is called for. So I think the board or staff needs to make a better effort to not only post the summary of the agenda, but also the documents that are going to go with that agenda that I'm sure council has read or has looked at so that the taxpayers can look at. Again, this is something for disclosure. Let the public know, have transparency. And the final point I just wanted to make was the posting of the meetings. I think the board or staff should have a posting of the meetings on the homepage of the website, saying the next meeting will be on such and such a date at such and such a time, and have a link so that the person can then refer to the detailed documents further in the website. So I think the lack of that, it just makes it hard for somebody to find. And it makes me think, why is this so difficult to find information? And why is this so difficult for me to tap in? Like when I first started looking, it took me almost a couple of days to figure out where to go to get the agenda, where to go to get the Zoom in, and just where to go overall. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
Okay, I don't have anyone else on the public comment sign up for our meeting tonight. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to offer public comment?
Any emails, Skylar?
No, ma'am.
All right, I think we can close public comment. Correspondence.
We have no correspondence that the board has not already received.
All right, new business. Board governance. I think, wasn't this a holdover from our last meeting for Erica and Celeste?
Yeah, it was. I think it's mostly Celeste, but I'll be quiet now.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring to the board a reflection in light of the guidance that we received from our counsel, Eileen, regarding work groups and public meetings. What I wanted to do is just as a board to discuss sort of how we work together and our plan to work together, if we do between meetings, if there's any work to be conducted. And just wanted to have a conversation about that to make sure that our entire board is clear about how we work together. And so I wrote some notes to sort of summarize my takeaway and would open it up to fellow board members if you had other understandings. So I'll just read off what I have. So what based on Eileen's commentary, what I concluded that we are able to do is that we're able to volunteer to do work between meetings, either with staff or another board member, that we are able to bring that work to a public meeting for consideration by the full board, and that we are able to call each other to discuss an idea, to review a document, et cetera, so long as not more than 2 of us are meeting to discuss items related to the district, and that we're not conducting serial meetings, like sort of chain calling each other on something. But we can call, like I could call Catherine, for instance, or I could call Mike to discuss an idea. What I took from Eileen's discussion with this is what we are not able to do is to have assigned teams that are officially charged to do the work of the board or to serve as advisory to the board. We should not refer to any informal teaming that each of us might do individually or with another board member as a committee or work group, because this could give the wrong impression that it's an official assignment from the board. So I'd like to open up for discussion and would any perspective from fellow board members.
The only other thing that I would add to that is that when we are meeting, we cannot be discussing things that would make a vote. You know, we can't be trying to influence each other.
Okay, yep. I'll add that.
So for Mike and me to get together about history, that's not officially a board. It's just the 2 of us decided to off the cuff get together and talk about history. Is that
Yes.
how that works?
Yeah, my interpretation is from Eileen, the guidance Eileen gave us is that that would be okay and that you could even bring that back and share it with the complete board.
As I recall, those were voluntary kinds of projects.
Correct.
Archiving and history was particularly the one Sue and I volunteered to do, which really doesn't have a whole lot to do with any agenda item that I can think of.
Yeah, and so far, most of the work being performed has been mainly solo, you know, and then bringing it back to the group for review or bringing it to another board member for some sort of review. So particularly in the governance, you know, which so far none of the work that we have done is outside of that. You know, it's looking at our policies, making sure that we're organized, just because there hasn't been a lot of that done in the past so.
Yeah. So Catherine, perhaps I know that you and I had discussed at one point the idea of perhaps assembling guidance like this for potential new board members in the future. I do have this in a document, so I don't know if we want to save that to the board drive or something like that, but I would propose that some notes like this, even though they're not very formally written, it's just bullet points. But I would have found this helpful to understand coming in how we should work together and how we should not work together.
Yeah.
Instances like this.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think we had kind of discussed before about, you know, having like a job description and I think all those things could be rolled right into that document.
Okay, so I'll send this, I'll send my notes over to Skylar, and Skylar, if you could just make sure those are placed in our board drive.
Yep.
So that when we get to the point of putting together an orientation packet that, or adding to the current orientation materials that you provide, that we can figure out how to include this.
Sounds good. And we do have a job description, so maybe I can, you know, transfer the information and the discussion tonight over to that job description and maybe present it back to the board in the next couple of months for review.
That would be great. Anything else that you want to share on that topic, Celeste? Any more discussion?
Not on that topic.
Okay, moving on. Board appreciation. Was this something you added, Skylar?
It was not.
It was also something I asked to be added to the agenda. I wanted to ask my fellow board members, and Skylar, I'm not sure if I can share screen, but particularly in consideration of the really challenging year that we've had, I thought it would be nice for the board to issue a note of thanks to our staff and from the board specifically. And so I took a stab at beginning a document. I thought we could group edit it here briefly, if that's okay with folks.
Yeah.
And that asked Skylar to distribute it to staff for us. Sue?
I had talked to Skylar about doing some sort of, what I would have wanted to do if we hadn't shut down was to offer like a pizza party in some form of COVID time. So maybe that's something, and I originally was gonna just pay for it. So I mean, that was something I was interested in, showing appreciation for the staff.
So I'm not sure if there's, I'm open to that. I'm not sure if there is a way for us to do that, considering that folks are scattered, unless Skylar can provide us any guidance.
Well, I actually mentioned that since, you know, the opportunity before the holidays had passed, maybe we could do it as a return.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it might be difficult to pull off logistically right now. We do have some staff that are still working, but the majority of our staff are not, or they're working remotely as appropriate. So maybe we can take a rain check on that idea and then do it as soon as we're able to resume our normal operating hours and programs.
So are you all able to see my screen?
Yes.
So I am not precious at all about writing. I just think it's easier to edit than to draft. And so I gave it a go. So feel free to add, correct, or change anything you see fit.
My only edit would be my name.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, is it A or E?
A.
A, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
I think the rest of it sounds great, Celeste. I think it conveys exactly what I would want to say. So.
And you spelled my name right.
Looks pretty darn nice, Celeste. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's great, Celeste, and I hope you don't mind. The name of our district, unfortunately, we're not a Parks and Recreation District.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
just a Park and Recreation District.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
It just rolls off the tongue better.
I know, I've made the mistake so many times myself, so.
Yeah,
All right.
I would full-heartedly put my name on that. So.
Okay, Skylar, I'll send it over to you if you could distribute for us. on our
Thank you,
behalf.
Celeste.
Okay.
All right. Next on the agenda is the executive session. Do we have a motion? Anyone?
I don't have the text. I always depend on Mike having the text in front of him.
All right. I was starting to read. I'm sorry about the mic. I move that the Board of Directors for SEPRD go into executive session for the purpose of conducting deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions pursuant to ORS 192.660, Section 1, Item E.
Thank you, Mike. Do we have a second?
I second.
Sue seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
And do you want to share when you expect to return from executive session in case members of the public want to come back?
Yeah, and I think to be, Catherine, maybe be a little bit more generous because
Yeah,
we usually go over, so.
7:30? 2 hours? I mean, is that, usually we
That's a long
do an
time.
hour and we end up an hour and a half.
7:15 maybe. Yeah.
7:15? Okay.
Can I add something? Right as we were beginning, my daughter texted me that she's driving down. So I'd like to maybe be excused when that happens. I don't know what that means because I told her not to come. I mean, no, I just drove in from Portland and the roads are wet and
Oh, no.
I'm concerned.
Okay.
So I'm concerned.
Maybe we could shoot for 7 o'clock. I don't know.
All right.
Yep. That
7
way.
o'clock.
Okay.
Skylar, let me know when you're ready.
I will. There's still quite a few people, and I know we'll have a couple members of the media as well as our broker, Julia, that will be here with us.
Okay.
So I'll let you know.
Thanks.
Congratulations, guys.
Thanks, Julia.
I'll talk to you soon.
And Jeff, thanks for jumping on with us.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Are you ready for me
Absolutely.
to let folks in, or do you want me to wait till that 7 o'clock hour, Catherine?
I think you got
That's one. Why? Go ahead, because by the time people connect, it'll be 7.
Okie dokie.
And then we're ahead of schedule for once.
Yeah, they might be surprised. Okay, everybody that was in the waiting room has been let in. We still have 2 people that are connecting to audio. Oh, one other person is joining right now. You'll have 2 people that are in the room but are connecting to audio, but everybody else looks ready to go, Catherine. Oh, as soon as I say it, one more is joining right now.
Okay. We'll give everybody about, how about 2 more minutes?
Okay, sounds good.
Since we were early.
Okay, there's nobody in the waiting room and it appears that everybody's connected to audio, Catherine.
Okay, moving on to board action. Mike?
Thank you, Catherine. I move that the SEPRD board accept the negotiated offer with the Seaside School District for the Broadway Middle School and apply the flex lease financing that has already been previously approved by the board.
Thank you, Mike. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Celeste seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Did we hear from Sue?
Aye,
Aye.
second time.
All right, upcoming calendar items. Our next workshop is Tuesday, January 5th at 5:15 p.m. with Eileen Akins, our lawyer, which will also be Zoom. And then our next scheduled board meeting is on Tuesday, January 19th at 5:15 p.m., also Zoom at this time. Board comment, Mike?
Well, I guess I've been around the block with this. It's a historic day for the district and for all of my fellow board members as well, and the community. I believe that they will see the benefit of this in the not too distant future.
Thank you, Mike. Sue?
I wish I could restate what I said about my dad and money and our vision. And I guess, what I will try to speak, because, when I think about my dad, I think about how smart a businessman he was and how well-known he was in business circles. So simply saying, number one, money isn't everything. And it is important in a pandemic and in people's pocketbooks that we do pay attention, but there is a bigger picture. And I appreciate the vision that this board has in being able to look forward to something where right now we're facing some people who aren't so sure, some people who are gung-ho about it. And I think it's very important that we keep in mind that we're representing all voices. And I want to keep in mind what Mike had mentioned before in looking at history, that the prom was not something that was embraced by the community, and today it is. I think there is a Greenway project vision that should be looked into, and we honor that in our decision as amongst several other things that we have in mind for a positive future for our community.
Thank you, Sue. Erica?
Yeah, I just reiterating what Sue said, that we, I think we need to have a vision as a community and come together to make that happen. So I think that the board and the staff are extremely committed to the success of the project. And I just truly believe that, in the future and the years to come that, we'll look back and really be proud of what we were able to accomplish together as a community, right? And I think, for all the community members who have been involved, I think there's been some really great ideas and suggestions. I think, unfortunately, though, the school district is selling the Broadway Middle School as a whole. They're not selling bits and pieces of it. And so, based on the reality that we're working in and what we need for this community, this is the decision we've made. So I just want to thank everybody who's been involved and who, I think that everybody here truly cares about the community. So I appreciate all the comments and all the, feedback.
Thank you, Erica. Celeste?
So I'm going to piggyback off of something Sue mentioned earlier. This week we've lost Stubby Lyons, who is sort of a legend in our community and who has been so instrumental in shaping the lives of so many young people and really lent to the overall spirit of our community. And I'm super hopeful about what this project will do to provide a place where that spirit continues on. And I'd just like to say, as we approach the end of the year, I am pleased to see 2020 in our rearview mirror and optimistic about the opportunity 2021 brings.
Thank you, Celeste. I would just like to express my appreciation for the vision that all of our fellow board members are sharing. I truly believe that Park and Rec provides a crucial service to our community, and by adding indoor play space and indoor recreating space in this particular space, we create just the heart of Seaside right there. And I think the vision, 5, 10, 15 years down the road is just going to be, this will have been something that we look back and think, oh, we should have done that years ago. Anyway, I appreciate everybody's time and effort and vision for this project, and I look forward to working on it with everybody. With that, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.